Metal for the masses. It's the only place that plays it harder, faster, and louder than anybody else on live365.com. Oh my goodness. I am joined here by Steve of the band The WORD66. Sir, why don't you introduce yourself here?
How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve from the WORD66, and I really appreciate you having me on, John. I'm really excited to chat with you and chat with your guys out there.
Absolutely. It is it's an honor to have you here. Metal for the Masses is a space where, you know, bands from the underground scene, bands that are kind of glossed over by the mainstream, it almost seems, can find their voice and can find their outlet. So that's the whole point of this channel. It's the whole point of my existence here, me, some prick on the internet. But yeah, something that that we were talking about before this even happened was you guys are almost a Christian hard rock / metal band, correct?
Correct.
So that's something that I found very interesting because as I was talking to you in the messaging, I'm familiar with what you called contemporary Christian bands. Like I'm familiar with bands like Third Day and others like that. And that's just because of my Methodist upbringing and bands that people in that spectrum would listen to. Never once have I heard of I guess in that genre, a hard rock / metal Christian band. It seems to almost be a more satanic space. And it's how do you navigate that? How have you guys found a footing in that?
You know, I'd like to say that we are an originator, but not really. So for people that are not familiar with the genre, there's actually a lot of really cool Christian hard rock bands out there. And I would say to some people out there, if this is your genre, you know, metal, then I would say just Google some Christian hard rock bands and you'd be getting yourself involved in a genre that you didn't know anything about and that you probably would really dig. And you would probably want to add a lot of those bands to your playlist as well.
Yep. There's only been one other that I've come across, and they're more of like, they're heavier than your sound, but it's still like one of those like mystifying things. They're a band that I found called Symphony of Heaven, and they're very much a Christian rock, Christian metal band, but they also did a cover of Death's Flesh and the Power That It Holds. And it was a very almost like yin and yang kind of experience. But you guys also have done a cover of Spirit in the Sky.
Yes.
Which I actually got to listen to just before this. A very superb cover. I like to consider myself a very harsh critic of covers. I love covers very much. I love when a band tries to take on another band's work and make it their own. I just feel like a lot of bands fall short on that because a lot of bands mistake cover for impersonate. And a lot of bands will try to mimic like 100%. Like if a band was covering, say, Ronnie James Dio, a band would almost try to be Ronnie James Dio. And it's like, you can't do that. You got to be your own. You guys took this cover of Spirit in the Sky and it was just 100% your guys' own.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We've had a lot of good vibes on that, man. A lot of people have had some good responses, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and I got some other stuff from you here for people to check out. The On the Way to the Promised Land EP. You got 4 tracks on here, absolutely all amazing. I want to talk about them. On the Way to the Promised Land, I Am Free, I Feel the Love, Sweet as Candy, and of course, your cover of Spirit in the Sky. What went into this EP, and what was the process behind everything? Why those songs, and then also why that cover, Spirit in the Sky?
So I had this calling once upon a time, about 5 years ago, to do this project. And that's when I started writing all the material as well for the record. And it just kind of came together. It took a little while, but it was around the COVID time. So We had problems getting into the studio and recording this stuff, but when we did, everything just seemed to come together pretty well. And we got fantastic response from everybody, Christian and non-Christian, radio stations and magazines and stuff as well. So that was really cool. So we're definitely what you would call a crossover band. And that's a blessing, because we can, when you're being played on the Christian stations, it's fantastic and you have all the Christian fans, but they know the word.
Right.
So you're kind of preaching to the preacher, kind of thing. So when you can have that ability to reach other areas and other people and other genres, that's definitely a blessing. But everything came together pretty well. And then we wanted to do a cover, because every band has that one cover, every band has to do a cover. And we were trying to think of something that was had some kind of religious, connotations to it and stuff. So we were just kind of, what can we play, man? What can we do? And we're just kind of thinking of stuff. And then Spirit in the Sky came to mind, because that's actually been redone many times before. It's been in a million movies. And we were like,
just this instantly recognizable track.
Yeah, everybody knows that track. And Norman Greenbaum, who wrote that song, I mean, that's really the only hit that he ever had. And it's just one of those songs that, like you said, it's a staple amongst rockers and classic rock. So we were like, all right, let's try that track out and see how it goes. And so a thing that a lot of people don't know is that, that really cool ending that we have, with the double bass and everything.
Yep.
That wasn't planned.
Really?
So when we went in the studio, that wasn't something that we were like, okay, yeah, let's finish the song out like this. So it just turned out that when we were recording it in the studio, when it was done, we were thinking that it was going to be fading out by now. So we were just kind of just messing around and playing. And then the drummer started going, and I just started doing my improvising thing too. And then when it was done, we were like, hey, man, that was really cool. We have to keep that in there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
You were talking about how it's just like, you're kind of a crossover band, how like, obviously the Christian base will obviously, they'll eat this kind of stuff up. Like, you're preaching to the preacher, as you would say. How, you said that you've been very well received by even, the non-religious, aspect of your fan base, and just people in general. How hard did you guys have to really work to get your stuff onto like a mainstream, not onto the mainstream, but just like in the ears of the mainstream? Because usually, like, I don't want to say it's something that people just like turn off to, but it is kind of something that, like, people will like turn off to. Like, when you say like, Christian rock or Christian, that they just, there's an image, there's a certain expectation people have, and it's just something that I call them the normies, that the normies just don't want to listen to. It's already an uphill battle. It's like metal in general. When you say I listen to metal music, just in general, a normal person would be like, oh, you listen to that Cookie Monster scary stuff. And it's
Right.
no, yes, but no, but it's already an uphill battle. You especially, being in that, it seems like an uphill battle, but with a boulder on your back on top of it. Like, was there any struggle, in the beginning to getting your band sound out there?
Still is. Like I said, there's definitely a stigma involved. If you mention the word Christian, it's funny because, like, when I talk to some people too, friends and other band people, they say, like, when you send stuff out and stuff and you're contacting people, you probably maybe shouldn't mention that you're a Christian band. Just say you're a metal band and let them find out for themselves and judge for themselves. But it's not really something I like to hide.
Right.
Because it's not my mission. We all have a purpose in life, as per God. And my purpose, I believe, is to spread the word through the music. So I don't hide the fact that we're Christian in the music either, in the lyrics.
And that even goes to a biblical sense, because I believe it was, during the crucifixion of Jesus, Peter was Peter denied him 3 times. And, you don't want to be, a denier, like if you deny, it doesn't go well for you, So it's, yes, by all means, let them know that you are a Christian band, don't hide it. Don't say, no, I'm not. And I'm not associated with that. And let it be all out there, let them judge for themselves, but don't hide any of that, be truthful. I think that adds a certain level of character to it. You're not hiding the fact that you are this band, and that, they can judge it that way as, as they want, but it's not find out for themselves. Because some people are, I'm not going to lie, are not going to be able to figure it out for themselves if you don't tell them, that's the thing.
And that's fine. And there are a lot of people out there that are like that, because I've heard many times from radio DJs before too, that they said that if you didn't mention that you were Christian, or if we didn't read your bio, we wouldn't have known that. So,
right.
Which is fine too, so if you just want to dig the music, that's fantastic, man. That's great. Maybe you want to listen to it, and maybe if you're not a religious person, maybe it'll inspire you to learn a little bit more. Maybe you want to look at the lyrics and go, okay, well, that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'd like to know a little bit more about this music and a little bit more about religion. So I always say, John, let the music do the talking.
Right. And
I let the music do the talking. And
music's
I always
a very powerful voice, and it speaks volumes. And it's really, for somebody, I don't know, somebody who might just not be a good speaker. I don't really consider myself to be a great public speaker, but, music definitely has a more powerful voice than some people. So you're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And the new record is called Rock and Roll Preaching. And that's what I believe that we essentially do. I mean,
Yeah.
we preach the word through the music. And another thing I always like to mention too is that if you meet me or the guys in the band, I mean, we're not going to be preaching to you, we're not going to be.
It's not full missionary,
Excuse me. Yeah, it's not like you have to see, if you see us and you have to run the other way, because you don't want to deal with it.
Right.
It's not that way.
It's not meeting the Pope,
Right, exactly. And if you want to talk about religion, that's fantastic. And we'd love to have that conversation with people. And if you don't, we won't even bring it up, really, So, we're just regular people. We
Right.
have a purpose to spread the word through the music. And again, if you want to talk about it, fantastic. Otherwise, we let the music do the talking for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you said the new record is called Rock and Roll Preaching. Let's talk about your new record. Is it already out yet? Is it coming out? Let's get all the info on it.
It's kind of complicated.
Okay, it's kind of complicated. Okay, we're off to a great start.
So the original plan was so the new one is an EP, and we were going to combine the 2 EPs together to make it a full LP. So we might be able to sell 1 or 2 copies, maybe, instead of no copies. So we were signed on Curtain Call Records for a while, and that didn't work out too well. So we did not renew our contract. So we were looking for another label to sign with. We actually had like 5 deals on the table, which is pretty cool. And then so we went with the label that we thought would be the best. And to make this a short story, so we actually signed with this label for about 3 weeks, I'd say. And from what I was told from some other people, PR people I was talking to recently, they said it was probably the best thing for us that they wound up tearing up our contract because we were coming to them with some issues that we were having with them. And, we stated what was going on, and they really didn't care for it too much, and they wound up ripping up our contract.
Can you name any of the issues that you guys were having?
It was taking a long time to get anything done.
Oh, gotcha. So just like the process of things, they seem to be just dragging their feet.
It was taking forever. And then there were all these extra additional hidden costs and things like that too. Oh. And so basically we're just like, it's been a while since we've released a single. So why don't we just release this single? And we had just finished the video for it as well. So we said, so we have this new video, we have this new single. Why don't we just release that for now, just so we can keep things moving with the band?
Right.
And then they didn't like that idea at all. So they kind of just freaked out over it, and they just like tore up our contract and stuff, which is fine. So anyway,
On to bigger and better things.
to make a short story long, we so at this time we're still really searching for the right label to put it out through. So I wish I had an exact date for when it was coming out. So, but I don't at the moment.
Gotcha. But so even though we don't have a release date, let's talk about what you guys do have, in the works for everybody.
Hey, well, one thing I'd like to mention is that on this new record, we have Danny Miranda, who's been in Queen and Blue Oyster Cult, playing bass.
That's awesome.
On the record as well. Yeah, great guy, great bassist, great bass lines. So it was an honor to have him on the record as well. So that's pretty cool.
How did you, sorry to interrupt you, how did you score him on this?
The main thing is that our producer is a really good friend of his.
Okay.
And we all grew up in the same area. I mean, I know the guy, and we've recorded in the same circles as well. We've been in the same recording studios and things. And again, we lived in the same area. So when Vinny sent him the tracks and said, what do you think about this stuff? And he really loved it. And he was like, yeah, I'd love to do this with you guys. So that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's see. So we have a new drummer. We will be touring with a new bassist as well. Brian, the vocalist, also has been doing some bass work on the tracks as well. And so he would like to just concentrate on doing the vocals. So we are working with a new bassist at this time as well.
Gotcha.
There's some different stuff on the record. So we have a couple of tracks that are probably our heaviest tracks so far. We also have another track that was kind of what I'd call a little bit more commercial. So we were talking earlier about, the Christian contemporary. So
yes,
we were kind of trying to cross over into those lines as well. So we did this song called Just to Show My Love, and it didn't work. At least not yet,
Gotcha.
The old label did put it out through Sony Orchard. But when we did leave the label, we did have it pulled. So actually right now the song is not even out there for people to even listen to, unless they go to our website. They can check it out. They can download it through SoundCloud.
Which that is the WORD66.com, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
and
yeah, if you want to hear awesome freaking music, go and check out the WORD66.com. Sorry, just wanted to give you a plug. Continue.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then we have a ballad. That'll actually be the next track that we're putting out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I grew up with the first band that my dad the reason I'm into metal is because of my father. And one of the first bands my dad put me onto is Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Probably very, very much known for one, awesome metal, but a lot of ballads. Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Phantom of the Opera, just long ballady kinds of songs. So I very much am a lover of ballads. What's the you said that one is coming out, is going to be the next one that you guys are going to be putting out. Sorry. How long of a track is that one? How long of a ballad?
It's almost 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's not like the Iron Maiden ones that you mentioned. It's just a ballad, really. So it's acoustic guitar, a cello, and Brian singing vocals.
That's pretty nice though. Yeah. So more on the soothing side than on the melt your face off kind of side. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering too, when I'm going to be promoting this song, I don't know exactly how the metal stations will actually
I don't know how the stations would take it either, but as for somebody like me, I'm a fan of like the out of the ordinary, like that's like one of my whole things is the reason that I do metal for the masses is because I don't like the ordinary. Like I turn on a normal, metal or rock station and they'll be playing. I mean, I'm here in New Jersey, so like I think like the biggest rock station in my area is like WMMR, which is a Beasley Media Corporation, and they would play like blocks of Metallica. Not that there's anything wrong with Metallica, but a block of Metallica is excessive. You know, that's what, like, I can take like maybe 2 Metallica songs a week, but when it's like 4 of them at one time, I'm like, there's other bands out there, man. Like I want to hear something.
I get it.
And it part of Metal for the Masses is like I love the out of the box kind of stuff. So it's like you saying it's acoustic guitar, a cello, and vocals. I mean, I forget the name of the band, but they literally start this song off with a like almost like a concert kind of style, like violins, cellos, piano, like that kind of stuff. But then they kind of like go into like a modern jazz and then into metal. Like it's just so out there.
Very cool.
But it all worked.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, it's just like, I don't think I would be too worried about how the mainstream would take it, honestly, just because the mainstream needs to, and this is something that I preach a lot, the mainstream needs to change. The mainstream needs to understand that bands like yourself and bands like other people are out here, and you guys are doing things out of the box in order to, you know, get noticed. But I don't think that worrying about what I would call a bunch of old men with their heads up their ass, you know, I wouldn't be worrying about them, you know, because in 20 years time, they're not going to be there to worry about what you're doing. And the next generation of artists will hopefully have taken the reins.
Right.
But
I gotcha.
That's my personal opinion.
You know, and it's not like when we put the record together, it was kind of like, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to have a couple of hard songs. We got to have a commercial song, and then we got to have a ballad. It's just, you know, I write pretty much all the music and everything. So it's just like, I just write the music, you know, and I just thought these were good tracks to put out there, you know, and the song is basically about a single person, a single guy, wondering when God is going to send them their Eve, so to speak.
Right. So, you know, it's a, you know, when is my love coming to me?
And everybody can relate to the song for sure.
Absolutely. As a single man in his late 20s, you know, I too will wonder, you know, when I'll meet that person, because I don't know, everybody tells me it's like, oh, you should go to like the dating apps and stuff like that. I'm just like, I really just don't know, man.
It's a horror show.
It is a horror show because everybody could literally just lie.
And they do.
And they do.
And they do.
And it's not like I also want to go to a bar and try to find somebody that way either, because that's just like, nobody's there. It's just like, it's no lie, but it's just like, it's people like my parents' age, and it's just like, and nothing wrong with that, but it's just, it's kind of like not for, it's like everything's so random and so chaotic. You just don't know when that'll happen. So I mean, like, yeah, sometimes you really just do got to ask the big guy, like, you know, hey man, like, what's going on? When's any of this stuff coming? Like, can you just tell me? And the cliche, the very cliche line is like, you know, he works in mysterious ways, but it's just like, he really does, you know. There's been a lot of things that happened in my life. I don't consider myself to be like an overly kind of religious person. But you know, I having a Methodist upbringing, like, you know, it is one of those things where, like, when things happen in my life and there's so many kind of ways that I can't explain it, I, you know, either have to ask or give thanks or something like that, because it's the only thing that I know how to do, you know.
Right. Sure.
And there's so many things that happen in life these days, and I don't mean to turn this into a spiritual conversation, but you know, there's so many things that are happening now in today's society that I feel like more and more people are starting to have these kinds of conversations, like, hey, like, there's a lot of these things that, like, hey, like, rational minds can't explain. How do we explain this? Like, what do we do? Who do we ask? Who's going to guide us? Because it just seems to be a perfect, almost reawakening for, a lot of spirituality, I would say.
I always like to mention that for people whose lives aren't going so well right now, let's say their life really sucks and they don't know what to do about it, it's just another option for you to look into, because they say that the meaning of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. So let's say you're in a place in your life where you just don't know what to do anymore. You don't know where to turn. You're everything's a dead end and you're just completely lost. Well, it's an option. Maybe you might want to look into maybe going to church, and maybe one of the small steps, one of the baby steps you can take is maybe listening to music like ours, for instance. Maybe listen to The Message. As I was saying earlier, maybe add some Christian rock to your playlist that you have now, and maybe make some baby steps. Maybe it'll make you want to know a little bit more about God, about Jesus, or maybe not, which is cool. But maybe you'll just dig the music and go like, hey, this is a cool song,
Yep. And I feel like a lot of, at least a lot of the Old Testament can be applied to metal, because going back to, I don't know, even the Moses and the Pharaoh stuff, that would be one hell of a metal album right there. Locust plagues, fire from the sky, spirit. Well, Metallica did Creeping Death. So, I mean, like, that's essentially it. But the whole Old Testament's pretty metal. I mean, the New Testament is kind of I always say God went to therapy and everything got all right, and had some counseling and everything. But I feel like metal, a lot of people equate metal to, like, satanic kind of stuff, devil and fire and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But, Christianity can be pretty metal. You have so much things in, not only in history, but also in the scripture, that can be turned into a pretty badass metal song, or also lyrically have great messaging. Because what I say all the time, you could have a great song. This is why I don't like, modern day, like Post Malone and Lizzo and that kind of stuff, because it's like, yeah, the music, the sound might be all right, but you look at the lyrics and it's just moral decay. It's not anything.
Well put.
When you listen to, like, a song that actually has a good moral founding and actually good lyrics and actually has, some uplifting stuff, and there's plenty of that to go in the Bible, you could make a fantastic metal album that doesn't sound like, hippies and flowers and, love thy neighbor, but you could still also have a pretty good track, something that the metalheads would love, something that you can actually get into a circle pit over. But
so on the way to the promised land, that song is actually based on the book of Exodus.
Yeah.
So that's where I've got all the lyrics from. It was pretty much from the book, and putting it in an order in the song as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you pull anything from, or have you pulled anything from the book of Revelations yet?
No, not from Revelations, but I do like to throw some scripture in my songs every now and then as well.
Gotcha. There's sometimes I have a friend of mine who just kind of, with everything going on in the world today, he's kind of had a reawakening. I would kind of put it that way. And just, we talk about it all the time, just all the stuff that goes on in the world. There's so much almost blatant evil that's going on right now in the world that it almost doesn't make sense. And he turned back to religion for answers, and he's, he was raised Catholic, so he's gone back to his Catholicism. And something that I've talked about a lot with other people is, it's almost like we're living in the book of Revelations, or it was on the cusp of the book of Revelations. It it kind of seems very chaotic, which is why I asked, have you pulled anything from the book of Revelations yet? Because just you turn on the news and it almost feels like it these days, you know?
And that's something we discuss a lot. So I do have a Bible study group that I go to as well, and we do discuss those kind of things, how we thinking that, we're approaching, that time slowly but surely, because everything is getting a little crazy, man. I mean, even the weather, the things are happening that have never happened before. Even here in Vegas, like we just reached a record heat, so
200 degrees Fahrenheit.
220 degrees, actually.
Holy. All right.
I made my breakfast on the sidewalk the other day. I didn't feel like cooking, so I just grabbed a couple eggs
and I just put the egg out the window.
I just broke them on the sidewalk, and I had scrambled eggs, like 2 minutes later.
Jesus. Oh my goodness. How do you live out there, man?
No, so we reached like 118. So that's pretty hot.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not. It's very humid here in New Jersey. It's very much like a swamp. And even when it's like 80, but like the humidity makes it feel like 100 degrees, I stay inside. I want to die.
I'm from New York, man. I know. I've been there. I've been there, done that.
I tell people I have nothing that tans in my genetic history. It's all, I have two pigments. I have pale and then I have red. It's summertime. I don't go outside. I stay inside. It's just, I have to do it. I can't do anything, but out there, I don't know how people live out there in a desert like that, man. I really don't. It just seems to be, obviously there's plenty to do out there in Vegas. You're in that part of Nevada where there's so much to do.
Yes.
But anywhere else, I just don't know. It's like, if you're not in Vegas, what are you doing there?
You get used to it like anything else, just like you're used to the humidity. It's kind of, after a while, you don't even really notice it. You don't really think about it.
Gotcha.
So let me ask you this. So you're in Jersey. Are you a Giants fan by some chance?
No, sir. I am not. I am down here in Southern Jersey, where everybody thinks they're from Philadelphia. And I am a Dallas Cowboys and New York Jets fan.
Okay.
That Dallas is going.
Cowboys.
Listen. I already
enemy.
And being a Dallas Cowboys fan in South Jersey, where everybody thinks that they're from Philly, so everybody has to be a Philadelphia sports fan, you learn very fast how to shut these people down because none of their arguments make sense. They'll argue about, a winning history, but when you tell them that's like, well, we got 5 rings, they're like, well, you weren't alive when that happened. I was like, doesn't matter. That's still winning history.
Absolutely.
So Eagles fans don't make any sense. That's all I got to say. They're, how do I put this? An Eagles fan to me, and I'm sure that anybody tuning into my show when this airs is going to send me so much love mail, as I'll call it.
You're going to lose a whole bunch of fans, but
I'm going to, but look, it's okay. You got to spread the word. Eagles fans to me are the equivalent of the kid in the first grade class in the back corner eating glue. That is it. And when you tell them that glue is not for eating, they tell you that I can put it in my mouth and I can swallow it, so it must be for eating.
Eat it anyway. Okay.
Right. That is that. But no, I've just kind of been all my family's been Dallas and Jets. I'm used to losing. So nothing bothers me. So, but I'm sure you are from, being that you are from originally Long Island, you, sir, are a New York Giants fan?
I am a big Giants fan, a big Yankees fan.
Well, that goes without saying. What's the, I don't know, like Vegas doesn't have a sports team. So who do they kind of latch on to out there?
So from what I understand, I believe that the A's are going to be building a stadium out here.
The Oakland A's.
Oakland A's, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I guess they'll be the Vegas A's, I guess.
Or the Vegas V's.
Yeah, maybe. So that's probably supposed to happen. And we have all the other teams out here. We just won the Stanley Cup in hockey, and eventually we'll have all the teams here. So it's pretty cool. Vegas has become huge.
Yep. You guys will eventually have all the teams. You for the first time ever. I follow F1, Formula One racing, and you guys are getting for the first time ever. And this is because Monaco has decided to shaft the Formula One completely. Las Vegas just stepped up and was like, hey, like, yeah, you guys can race here in Las Vegas. And it's racing on the streets of Las Vegas. That's the coolest thing. I actually was going to go until I saw ticket prices.
Yes.
And I was like, at $2,000, I'll watch it on television. Because that's $2,000, no hotel. That's $2,000. Here's your seat plus a hotel. And I'm just like, you know what? Maybe we'll wait this out. We'll watch it on television. Maybe one day I'll go see a race in Vegas, but no, it's really cool. And you guys just got that big sphere light show thing. What is it called? I have no idea what it is.
I think it's called the Sphere. Yeah.
The Sphere. Yeah. And does it just, what do they do with it? Do they just change whatever the image of the light show it is?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't know about it. I don't know that much about it yet.
Right. I don't either. That's why I figured I'd ask somebody who's in the know there. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. This is it's a conversation about you and your music. I very much appreciated, the conversations about everything else, just because I don't really try to have a script for these kinds of things. As you can tell, I have no script in my hands. I try to make this feel as comfortable as normal of a conversation as possible.
Impromptu.
But, I feel like that's the best way that works. I feel like that if you're scripted, people know that you're scripted. But anyway, any more that you can. So you got bass player from Queen, and you said Blue Oyster Cult.
He's on the record. He's not going to be touring
on the record.
Us. He's not officially in the band, but
right.
He did do the recordings with us.
You got a new bassist coming in doing touring with you guys. What's the tour schedule going to look like? You guys going big, or are you going local?
It's going to be short. We don't want to do really long tours, so we'll probably do a couple weeks at a time kind of thing. Toward the end of the year, we should be getting out and working on a pretty cool show. We want it to be fun. We don't just want to come out and just play and whatever. So we're kind of working on some things. Something that we really love doing is one of the highlights, we think, of the show is, so when we do Spirit in the Sky, obviously there is female vocals in the background.
Right.
And we don't have a female vocalist in the band, obviously. So we do like to bring up a few singers, a few girls in the audience, to come up and sing with us for that track. And that's really cool. It's really fun. Has
that ever backfired terribly for you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
It will probably, but
I'm waiting for the day where it's just like, yeah, we bring up people to come sing, and then it's like the most tone deaf, out of key. But no, that would be terrible. I don't wish that upon you at all. I'm just saying that'd be awful. But any chance you guys are going to be coming over here on the East Coast?
I'd love to.
Oh, dude, if you're ever over here in, I want to say South Jersey, usually bands will come to Camden, but I don't really see too many people coming to Camden anymore. But like, if you're ever over in like the Philadelphia area, or maybe up in North Jersey, or God forbid, I got to take a little bit of a trip into the New York area, let me know. I would definitely be down to come see you guys live. I'm sure your guys' shows are amazingly fun. Do you guys play, big venues, or is it kind of on the smaller side of venues? Like, what's kind of the vibe of the WORD66 kind of show?
Right now, we want to start off with a church tour kind of thing.
Okay, so like you guys play churches?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we want to play, to the Christian audience to start out with, if we can. Yeah. And then of course we'll play some festivals and whatever kind of thing. So You know, we definitely want to hook up with, you know, a couple of great bands too. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We're kind of looking into that as well. So yeah, it's not, there's nothing written in cement right now, but
No, but that's definitely not the most normal thing I've heard either. So it's just like that's I never would have thought. Obviously, Christian rock band. I never would have thought it's like, yeah, we're gonna do a church tour. It's like, you're gonna do a what? Like, I'm
and
thinking, right? I'm
it's a
thinking
whole
like a
different
bar.
audience, and it's a different
Exactly.
audience, you know.
I'm thinking like, like a small bar, or maybe like, a big outside venue, or maybe a park or something like that. But it's like, no, we're gonna do a church tour. I'm just like, that is the most bitchin' thing I think I have ever fucking heard in my life.
Really, you're easily amused.
That's really cool. I'm just like, because listen, man, I know the kind of music that goes in church. I know what goes on in most churches. I've been in most churches. Having that go on, I mean, like, I would be there in a heartbeat in like my patch jacket and everything, and literally just be like, I never thought I'd be here. This is awesome.
And like I said, it's a totally different audience too. I mean, everybody's,
yeah.
you know, so extremely well behaved. You know, there's no, of course, there's no drinking, and there's no drugs, and there's no, you
Right.
know, people aren't out of control. They're not doing stupid stuff. There's no mosh pits.
Dude,
You
just you're
know,
up at the pulpit. Now open up this circle pit here in the pew.
now that would be kind of funny if we did something like that and say, okay, everybody in the back, clear him. You know, let's
I'd
get you
be
guys in the middle.
I would I don't even care. I'd be there. That'd be amazing. I would want to I'd film it. Like
You
like
know,
did
that's
you
an interesting idea. You know, I
like
wonder.
would you ever have thought you'd see a circle pit in church? Just see like grandma and her cane just freaking going ham. I love it. I love the idea. Like, no, I'm not like, yes, I'm easily amused, but I'm just thinking of like, I'm imagining like an actual pit opening up in the middle of a church. Like, that's amazing.
Not
I
sure
love the
that'll actually
concept.
happen, but that might be interesting
It's a possibility. You
to
never
look
know.
into. Yeah,
Look, man, you never know how the spirit is going to take hold of some of the people there. So it might happen.
right.
And if it does, I just hope it's on film.
And hopefully nobody gets hurt and people are suing the church.
Well, that too. We got to think about things here. It's got to be a
That
safe
wouldn't be
environment.
good.
No, it wouldn't. But
Short church tour. You get some publicity though. It's like,
you would.
I've never seen anything like
Absolutely.
this before.
I'm seeing the headlines on metalinjection.net now. It's like, band plays church, opens up a pit, thousands go to the hospital. Oh my God.
That's
I like it
kinda
though.
funny.
I love the idea though. That's definitely something that's out of the box. I've never heard of I'm sure it's happened before, but I'm just like, I've never heard of a church tour. I really haven't. I think that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
definitely it's a way to stand out, but two, it's also a way to in a way get more people in a church, because somebody's going to hear, hey, there's this band playing. Where are they playing? They're playing at the church uptown. They were what? But yeah, I think that's really cool. So like, I guess you guys are staying local. Are you just staying in, are you guys doing like Nevada, I guess, California kind of, like where are you guys going around?
Yeah, Utah, Salt Lake, New Mexico, all those kind of areas. And
Gotcha.
hopefully it'll extend more. We actually have a pretty decent following overseas as well. So I would love to fly over and do some shows over there as well.
Primarily where overseas?
We have a pretty good following in like Brazil.
Okay. That I can see that. That's really cool.
Germany, UK, a lot in the UK. We actually just got an invite in Russia to come out and do a show. But
really, will the United States let you go there?
We were thinking it's just probably really not a good idea.
They might be trying to steal some state secrets from you.
Yeah, it's like we may not be show up for the next
Hey,
gig, the
ah,
next night.
but you get to meet Putin. That's yeah,
No,
probably not going to be going over to the Moscow tour for quite some time.
it's gonna
Uh,
be a little ways down the road. Yeah. So
yeah,
where we appreciated the invite and it sounded like a really cool show and stuff like that too, but we were kind of like, yeah, probably not a
there's a
good
lot
idea.
going on.
Not a good idea at this time.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, not saying, hoping that it wouldn't happen to you, but there's a small, very small chance that a random drone strike might hit the place, and that's just not fun, you know.
And a really good chance, a possibility that you just might disappear as well.
Yeah, them the Spetsnaz might track you down in the airport.
Absolutely. I don't think they're really too fond of Americans at this point in time.
No, Americans, and yeah, not at all. And they'd probably see, like, you guys are a band, they probably think, like, we'll be able to leverage something with these guys. It's definitely not, appreciate the offer, but I think we're gonna stay here. That's cool though, that you guys have a big following over in across the ocean, and even down below the border as far as Brazil. That's awesome.
Italy as well. Italy.
Well, Italy, I can definitely understand. Italy and Brazil, to me, make the most sense. It's just, you have, the Vatican in that area of the world, like, where I would want to say that Catholicism kind of started from there. I probably didn't, but it almost feels like it started from there.
Sure.
Um, you have the Holy Roman Empire that's from there. You have a lot of Christianity in that area of the world. Brazil, absolutely, you have a lot of Christianity in that part of the world. Germany, I'm sure they're still atoning for their sins in the 1950s. Uh, I kid.
No comment.
But no comment. I kid. Please don't take me out of context. I'm just some prick on the internet. But no, I think that's really awesome, man. I think that's really cool that you guys have such a great following, and you guys have an amazing sound. I listened to your Promised Land EP, which I everybody should go out and download that. It's everywhere. It's iTunes, Spotify. I'm sure it's on your website, theword66.com, which, if they can go download it there, even better, because more of the proceeds go directly to you. And that helps your band out a lot. So anybody tuned in, go do that. And the new album, which, again, tell me what the name of the new album is you guys have coming out.
Called Rock and Roll Preaching.
Rock and Roll Preaching. That is in the works. We don't have a release date yet, but the more information that we do get, I'll definitely let everybody know on my social medias. Hopefully, when it does come out, just let us know here on Metal for the Masses. But
Absolutely.
Steve, man, it's been a great time sitting here talking to you. It's again, very humbled and very grateful that a representative of the Christian hard rock and metal scene, and a great one at that. You've been awesome this entire interview. Could come and sit down with me here and not only entertain me, but entertain everybody that will be tuned into this interview.
It's really nice of you to say, John. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great conversation. And again, so we'll have that record out shortly. Our latest track out right now, it's called The Chosen One. The video and the track is out. And if you guys can check it out, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. So you heard it here, everybody. This has been a fantastic interview with Steve of the WORD66. Go check them out. Go follow them on all the social medias. Thank you for tuning in.
God bless, man. Thanks, bud.